Oh,
I guess I wasn't the full video. I don't know what happened there.
I don't know, man. I think there's something afoot here. I think there's something afoot. But you know what? Fuck it, we're here now, right? Well, hell of an intro that was, right? You know what I'm saying? We do great work over here. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Hustler, how you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. Ready to talk some fantasy football. You already know that we're going to have a lot of different versions, but you already know my version is better.
Okay, we'll see about that. You know what I mean? I'm actually, it's funny because I was banking on that intro. I was trying to find where my fucking lighter went, right? So I could have my super cool joint lit while I do the intro. But yeah, you know what? Check this out, Rumboyz and girls. Welcome to episode 14 of My Version's Better. You know what I'm saying? I'm here alongside my co-host, the fantasy football hustler himself. And we got a very special guest, another fellow member of the Rumboyz. He also has his own crew called the Fantasy First Rounders. Man, my guy, I can't tell you enough about this guy, man. He is one of the greatest fantasy minds that I've encountered personally. He's on the rise. He's live every Wednesday night for the Fantasy First Rounders right here on the Rumboyz Fantasy Network. It's our man, Chris Pinto.
What's going on, guys? What's going on, Bogard? What's going on, Hustler, man? Super excited to be here. That's an awesome intro. Shout out to the Rumboyz for sure, guys. And yeah, Fantasy First Rounders live every Wednesday, coming tomorrow for you. So glad to be here.
Yeah.
What's up, Justin?
Yeah, what up, Clark?
What up, Clark?
It's funny. I was actually deciding whether I was going to go with Chris Pinto or Abby Cabby said. I was like, we're going with Pinto. I was like, I couldn't figure out how to pronounce that joint. I was like, what? We're going with Chris Pinto. But yeah, well, check this out. We're going to talk about, some possible players that can outproduce ADP. We're going to talk about some players that could, not live up to the ADP that they are drafted at. We're also going to talk about some little bit of draft strategies, and we're also going to talk about some messy backfields. Before we get to all that, we're going to go ahead and handle some quick housekeeping. Check us out at monkeyknifefight.com. Rumboyz and girls, use promo code Rumboyz. Match your first deposit all the way up to 50 smackers. Hey, it's funny because during that intro, I was going to grab like a big ass stack of money and be like, just stun on them like Monkey Knife Fight, right? But then, anyways, I'm not going to let go of that, am I? Something's afoot. You know what I mean? But yes. Listen, Rumboyz and girls, head on over to monkeyknifefight.com. Download the MKF app. Promo code Rumboyz will get your first deposit matched all the way up to $50. Get in on this daily fantasy sports prop action. It's nonstop. Get some bread because the bread ain't finna get you. I just made that up right there. That's pretty good. It's all right.
That was money. That was money.
It's money. I like your version better. I like your version better. You know what I'm saying? Well, yeah. And also, I want to let y'all know about our fine partners over there at SportsMe. Spartners. I like that. It's a new word. We'll go with it. Shout out to our partners over there at SportsMe. Jeff and the gang. You know what I'm saying? Doing phenomenal work with a phenomenal app for us to go back and forth in epic, bloody fashion. You know what I'm saying? Head on over to your local app store and download the SportsMe app. There's a battle waiting for you right now. Hey, go ahead. Let them know about our man, the Admiral. He got a nice giveaway, right?
Yeah. Have you guys heard Scott Fishbowl? You guys know about it? Well, Rumboyz Fantasy Network is giving out to one special fan, so make sure you subscribe right now on YouTube. After Dark, that's where it's going down. So you got to be watching on After Dark to claim that prize. So make sure you show up. But yeah, Rumboyz Robbie and the Rumboyz Network is going to be giving out a free entry into the Scott Fishbowl. Not a free entry. I mean, everybody, it's free, but yeah, you got to be lucky to be in the fishbowl. So get in it.
Yeah. So everybody, we fully expect all y'all that want to compete with the who's who in the entire fantasy industry in the Scott Fishbowl 11. You guys got to tune into Rumboyz After Dark. We go live 6:00 p.m. on the West Coast, and on the East Coast, we're going live 9:00. Hey, you don't want to miss it. Get your chance to get in that Scott Fishbowl, the SFB.
There we go. And And I hope for your sake you're not in the same division as me, because if you are, you are going down. You are going down. It's all love, though. I cannot wait. It's my first year being in the Scott Fish Bowl, so I'm excited.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. Great networking possibilities. Super fun theme. Always Scott Fish, man. Gotta love it.
Hell yeah. And if you guys don't know about Draft Night Out, that's going down in Canton at the Fantasy Football Expo. Check this out right here. A word from Rumboy Robbie himself.
TikTok, what's good? It's your boy Rumboyz Robbie of the Rumboyz Fantasy Network. Join Who's for Sleeper Wire, Steffi Smalls, Eat Sleep Fantasy, and many more for the biggest, wildest fantasy football live draft party ever thrown on the face of the planet. That's right, y'all. I want y'all to join me at the Fantasy Football Expo in Canton, Ohio. It's going to be litty. I'm giving away one free ticket to one lucky fantasy football player out there to join me and party with the Rumboyz on Draft Night Out. You're going to get the draft, enjoy some drinks, meet some of the industry's top analysts and everything. Also giving away 5 free raffle tickets for our NFL memorabilia giveaway. We talking cards, jerseys, helmets, all good. Let's go. To purchase a ticket, get on over to draftnightout.com. Tickets going like crazy, so don't miss out. Don't be late. And for more Rumboyz action, get your tickets for the Fantasy Football Expo. Dilly.
Shout out to the Admiral.
What was that dance he's doing?
Killing the TikTok.
I don't know, man.
Like he was skiing right there.
He's very young. As old as Robbie likes to claim he is, he's very young. And that's what the young people do. I'm old.
Yeah, I'm with you, Bogart.
And Jay Love making some observations like Isaac Newton over here. He said, Bogart, first time I seen you without a hat.
Oh, my hairline's good. You know what I mean? It's funny because I had this cool fucking Pink Floyd tie-dye shirt, and I don't have a hat that matches it. And I was like, I had a white hat, but that shit was dirty than a motherfucker. I'm like, all right, you know what? We're going no hat. It's like, you know what's funny is man, one of my homies, he's a comedian. He says a hat is ugly guy's makeup. You know what I mean? Ugly dudes wear a hat. It's like makeup to them. You know what I mean? But see, I'm a good looking dude though. And listen, if anyone wants to argue, my version's better. You know what I mean?
And then Jay Love getting on me said Hustler looks like he's 37 and 22 at the same time. It confuses me.
Listen, here's the thing with Jay Love. We got this run-on joke over here at the Rumboyz. We call him Benjamin Button because he's like all-knowing. You know what I'm saying? He's so young. But I'm serious. He's Benjamin Button. Like he older than all of us. He was around. Listen, bro. He knows our pappy's pappy, bro. I'm telling you. You know what I mean? That's what you know what I'm saying. But anyways, let's just quickly talk about this Julio shit because I know we were all like all the way up till today. Everyone was expecting this shit. You know what I mean? And like the reality of it is, I was saying this last week. There's a good possibility, a good realm of possibility that he just doesn't even get traded because, like, why would they trade him? I don't get it. Maybe because you don't want to be there. I mean, because what did you think at the 4th spot overall? You drafting Pitts means like you want to win now with what you got. You know what I mean? Kind of confuses me. New head coach, new regime. You know what I mean? Don't you want to build it in your likeness? You could have done it right there with 4th overall. Grab Justin Fields. You know, you think there's so many things they could do. I'm confused. Well, what's your guys' gauge on this Julio thing in general right now?
So I'm with you. I thought there was definitely going to be a trade that was going to pop off this morning when everything reset, like we talked about last week, Bogard. But you know, Julio and Matt Ryan were essentially brought in together. I mean, they're the franchise. If it was going to be done, I think it would already have been done. So I think he stays in Atlanta Falcon. And like you said, man, I think they're in a win now situation. No Drew Brees in New Orleans. Obviously, Tom Brady's still competing, but a new quarterback in Carolina as well. So the division's pretty much them in Tampa Bay. So let's go, Julio. Stay with Matt Ryan. Come on, man.
Yeah, you already know that they're not building for the future with Matt Ryan's contract. You know, right now, like he's locked into those next 2 years. Like it's way too expensive for them to get rid of him, you know, before the 2 years is up. So I don't understand why, you know, they're not doing things to keep Julio happy. I mean, even if he's not the Julio of old, like he's still better than a lot of people, you know, at his age right now. And there's a lot of people who get hurt. Like, I mean, if that's an issue on why, you know, they're dogging him, like this kind of is what it is. Like that's football. A bunch of people are going to get hurt. I really want to see if he leaves. I want to see him go to somewhere like the Chargers and just make the Chargers go all in. You know, they got enough cap space. Are they going to give up enough? We keep hearing all these rumors, you know, that there's like first round stuff out there, but that makes me think that there's no first round stuff out there and they're just trying to reach to see if anyone's going to give them that. So it's a weird, they kind of made their bed and now they got to sleep in it. Julio's pissed. It's one of those things where how are you going to make him happy now? I want to see it, but if not, cut him loose.
Well, we do know he doesn't want to play for the Cowboys. That's for sure, right? So that's one, right? Two, I would say I think New England is still the shoe-in to me because they've been asked with their first-round picks when they do pick them, and then usually historically they just trade out of it anyway. So what's the difference, right? You know what I mean? To get someone established and like, you know, possibly, you know, for one more this year and then next year with you know, Jones, if Jones doesn't get in the mix this year, which I actually doubt because I think Jones has a strong case to start week one. But that's another story. I still think, and with even I'll buy into Julio wanting to go there. Like, because part of a trade, you got to be like, yeah, okay, I'll go play over there. You know what I mean? And they got the money. They got the cap, so they wouldn't really have to tinker with things like if he went to the Niners or if he went to Tennessee, where like now you're talking about he really got to go. He really want to go there because you're gonna have to restructure his existing contract. You know what I mean?
Well, we gotta and we gotta remember though, at the end of the day, I mean, I know everyone keeps saying like, oh, Julio wants to win a championship. He's not gonna go anywhere unless he wins a championship. But I mean, there's maybe like 4 teams that are like a favorite to win a championship this year, and we don't even know if any one of those 4 are going to make it. So, yeah, just like you said, Bogart, it's just got to be somewhere that he seems okay to go to. At the end of the day, it's not really his decision other than like, you know, I'm not re-signing with you, you know, type thing.
And maybe they do what I expected them to do anyway and move Stephon Gilmore in the deal. You know what I mean? Like maybe they move, you know what I mean? Like, because they're pretty good at getting off a guy while he still has value, right? You know what I mean? Because if not, I figured they were going to try to move him before the deadline, but he got hurt during that time. So it was like, oh, then I figured he might be a guy on the move during free agency, and I was like, oh, okay. Or maybe they use him as a package deal to move up. Because I had New England doing all kind of shit to get Julio, which is dope because I'm on record on this show before the draft. I was like, New England finna trade Stephon Gilmore and 2 future first-round picks and the 15 overall for that number 4 and Julio. That was what I was saying. Then they were going to go get Fields or if they were crazy enough to get Jones. But then Belichick never does that. And he stayed where he got, and now he has Mac Jones. And he might get Julio for even cheap. Just a first round's got to be cheap to them. They're so ass in the draft, bro. I'm telling you, like New England is so ass in the draft. Matter of fact, I just realized this. We always say New England is so good at getting these veterans. Oh, they know how to use them. You know, whatever team or system they're in before, they weren't utilizing them correctly, and they go to Belichick. Listen, they're just bad at the draft, and they wait to see guys in real time, like in 4 years. Like, all right, you know what? Let's get him. You know what I mean? Like,
you're not wrong.
Julio's the best case of that, right? They've been watching him kick ass for what? How long has he been around? 2011,
2010, 2011, something like that.
2011, yeah.
Because I won a championship with him in 2012, and he was my 3rd round draft pick. I still remember that because that was a big time one. My starting 3 were Aaron Rodgers with the number 1 overall pick in a 2 QB league, and then Brandon Marshall and Julio Jones. And that was that Brandon Marshall year when he completely went off.
That was yeah, I was about to say that because I think he played most of the year that year. Because I was gonna say he never plays full season. I think that was one of them.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Okay, check this out. We'll just go really quick around the horn. So where do we want to see him go? I'm gonna jump out, and I already think the logical place, or at least as according to my research, right? I think New England's the spot. But selfishly, I want him to go to Tennessee. I have Derrick Henry in my keeper league. They're going to stack the box as much as possible. If you get Julio over there, it's just that much crazier. You know what I mean? For me, in a good way. So
sorry for your 49ers. Obviously, I want Julio to stay in Atlanta. But if he's going to go somewhere, I want him to go to Arizona. Got to go with my boy Killer Kyler. Come on, man.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Love Kyler Ren. Right? He goes over to Julio goes over to the dark side. I like it. You know what I'm saying?
Kingsbury action.
Yeah, he got Nuke.
I'll talk about him in a little bit.
Okay, I like it. See, look at that. Spoiler alert. What about you, Huss?
So for me, it's the Chargers. They got enough cap space. You gotta win when Joe Burrow's on his rookie contract. Like we've already seen, like Patrick Mahomes, you had to go all in. We see teams go all in with these rookie quarterbacks. You only got one shot, to not be overpaying him. And these next, 3 years is going to be that time.
I'm going to say this. Wherever he goes, it's a reality thing. In reality, wherever he goes, going to help them phenomenally. Right? But
absolutely,
I will say in fantasy, his best situation is in Atlanta. You know what I mean? Because we already know what it is. I'd say if he goes, unless he goes to Green Bay somehow, some way, but they're not going to do that. They hate Aaron Rodgers. They're like, fuck that. Wow. They're like, what? Give him what he wants? Fuck that. But if he had Julio Jones right there, then I'd be like, then I'm jumping out the window for Julio. And he does carry like a 4th round ADP right now. No matter where he goes, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be subjective to, hiring or falling in ADP. Yeah, but I digress. Let's get on to this. Let's get on to this first subject, right? That's me. I'm going to pop this one off.
Let's get it.
All right. So speaking of, rising and falling in ADP, we got my man Pinto in the house. He's rising in the ranks over here at the Rumboyz. You know what I'm saying? He was that value pick, and now he's far out producing the ADP. You know what I'm saying? Now he went from being a live guest to now having a live show, and that's what you want in fantasy. You got to diagnose those guys. So right now, we're gonna go through every position, and we're gonna rapid fire some players that we think will far out produce their current ADP. You know what I'm saying? So let's start with running back, because there's a lot of these running backs. Go ahead, Pinto.
Go ahead, Chris.
So first and foremost, gotta go with my 1.01 because he's going as the 4th overall running back, maybe in the 5th or 6th running back off the board sometimes. I'm talking about Saquon Barkley of the New York Giants. He's my running back 1, so wherever he's going, it's not high enough. 56 evaded tackle. Oh, well, let me digress real quick. So the starters of the New York Giants, not talking about their offensive line, which was in shambles for last year, and the injuries, right? I'm talking about Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Golden Tate, Sterling Shepard, and Darius Slayton, Evan Ingram. These guys have played less than 20 quarters of football together in their career. Let's get them healthy. You add Kenny Golladay. You got Jason Garrett, who essentially is going to bring the old Dallas Cowboys back with the new Tony Romo version and Daniel Jones.
Don't do that to Romo.
Hey, I guarantee you this year, Daniel Jones will have an 80-yard touchdown run. He will not trip this year, and fantasy managers will win games because of it.
Danny Pasos is going to trip. He loves getting caught up by those ghosts.
It's something about that arena.
That was so hilarious. I couldn't believe it. But back to Saquon Barkley real quick, man. 56 evaded tackles in his career. He's got a 20.1 juke percent rating. He went from a 0% contested catch rating as a rookie now to 100% as a junior, essentially. My narrative on this guy, man, he's like Neo from the Matrix, right? You can even rearrange the letters and it says 1 in his name, or Neo. It took Neo 3 movies to get really good and finally unlock his potential. Saquon Barkley is Neo. He's the one. I've got him as my running back 1, 2,300 total yards, 17.15 total touchdowns, 345 fantasy points. He is my running back 1 this year, and he is going to far outproduce wherever you're getting him, as long as it's not the 1.01.
Okay, well, I want to argue and also at the same time agree with it, right?
Sure.
Check this out. So they did come out and say that he's not going to be 100% healthy to start the year, and they said they estimate he'll be on a snap count. Sure. I like this because that means it might even drop him a little further into the back of the first round. You know what I mean? And he's a guy there's probably only 8 running backs I could think of that we can consider, bell cows, that are just going to get all the work. You know what I mean? Maybe not even 8. I mean, that's an interesting workshop actually, because what I'm saying, I could think of 8 real quick, right? Let's say Saquon,
Zeke,
Chubb, Zeke,
Jonathan Taylor,
Henry Taylor, You know what I'm saying?
Maybe
Yeah, but you're saying Chubb. I mean, he splits a grip of work.
But they run at a high clip, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so
Kevin Stefanski has the highest run rate in the NFL.
Yeah,
so the two backs are going to eat.
It compensates. You know what I mean? Like it's fine. Like
not all snaps are created equal.
Yes, and he's not going to catch the ball a ton, but he's like the closest to Derrick Henry for real. If you look at Nick Chubb, just you know what I'm saying. But and then who else we got here? Oh, I'm going to say Najee Harris as well. Right.
Yeah, the workload's going to be given.
The workload's going to be given. Joe Mixon. People hate to say it. I love to say it.
Because David Montgomery, 225 total
Shout out to my man Monty Burns. You know why I call him Monty Burns? Because sometimes he burns you, and then sometimes you go, excellent. You know what I mean? Love Monty Burns. You know what I mean? Not scared of Cohen. Yes, okay. How about that? I like that you have Saquon because you have him as the 1-1. So even if you're drafting him at 2, he's a value to you.
Exactly.
I like it. It's a win.
So that's why I had to start there.
Points.
But like you were mentioning about bell cows as well, the next guy I want to talk about is Jonathan Taylor. Touchdown is what we call him on my show, the Fantasy First Rounders. But like you mentioned, bell cow backs are just so far and few between. He's like Luke Skywalker from A New Hope to me. Like he's the new version of the Jedi, right? The dying breed of the Jedi. The bell cow back is no more their, running by committee and, the running gun quarterback now. Jonathan Taylor is a guy that, he's like the 12th running back sometimes, or like the 6th running back off the board sometimes. He's my number 4 running back. So 1850 total touchdown or total yards, 13.79, 1 total touchdowns, and 325 total fantasy points for you. I mean, as a rookie, he had 41 evaded tackles. He wasn't utilized in the red zone at the first half of the season by Frank Wright. He went from like a 37% snap share up to 71 at the end of the year. I mean, if he gets the bell cow work with the upgrade in quarterback this season, he's going to be, the ride or die at the back end of the first round for most drafters.
Love it.
Here's the thing that is so crazy about Taylor, because I've done a grip of startups so far in Dynasty. So we're talking Dynasty, not redraft.
Sure.
I've seen him go at the 102 in Dynasty, but then I've also seen him go in the beginning of the second round and like literally everywhere in between. So like you got to know your league, and if somebody really likes him, because you may have to jump, higher than you want to.
Yeah.
Well, really, you got to have the pick. You got to have the high enough pick either way. He's not getting it to the second round. You got to have that kind of logic.
And he's already not like, shout out to Michael Florio. Michael Florio, I remember doing a mock with them, and he was peeling them off in that mid first. You know what I mean? This was like before the draft, even so he was already on that hype. Like it's kind of like foreshadowing where Jonathan Taylor's going to be drafted. Like he's going to be drafted in the top 7. You know what I mean? Top 8 at minimum. You know what I mean? Like
if you're in a draft, maybe Hustler, you might have been in a draft with one of my guys, Billy Witt. He absolutely loves Jonathan Taylor. So.
I like that. Sounds like I read the name. Sounds like he knows what he's talking about. Billy
Witt, aka the Dragon. You'll follow him. He's great.
Oh, yes. His real name and his nickname are just money right there.
I know,
right? Got that wit, and I'm a dragon. About to put some fire on you.
Smart dragon.
All right.
Another running back. I got another running back for you, though. And this might be a little chalk if you know who I am. But, man, Ezekiel Elliott, he is my running back 3.
Love it.
He is getting disrespected. He gets disrespected on my show by my co-host, and I got to fight him every week about it. But I'll keep it short and sweet on Zeke just because last season was so crazy. Last season in 2020, his fantasy expected points at the end of the season were negative 42.7. His average of his career is a positive 28.4. It's such a 70-point swing from last season. So you can't take that. And it's an outlier for me. He is a bell cow back. Essentially the offense is going to run through him. Dak is going to throw the ball a bunch. He's going to get a whole bunch of opportunities in the red zone. He is the number 1 guy there. I think he's going to have 330 fantasy points for you, 16 touchdowns, and I'm getting him in the second rounds of most leagues. He should be a top 5 guy, hands down.
Yeah, I've seen him in some of these dynasty leagues that I've been doing. He's been dropping to like the 3rd round.
Absolutely ridiculous.
It's crazy. Now those are super flex.
And all you gotta do though too is jump in that chat right during the draft and be like, "Oh shit, hey y'all remember his dogs, bro?" His dogs got on him, bro. Like, you might even get suspended. Just start getting him split. Oh shit! You know, they'll pass on him. When the clock is ticking down, bro, people they get, you know what I mean? They get irrational. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Oh, I see Billy's in the chat. What's going on, Billy?
Yep. Shout out to Billy. Don't tell me that's Billy Wick, because then that means he heard us. You know what I'm saying?
He's like, you should say his name 3 times and he shows up. So he's quick on it. He's quick. My last running back, I guess. This has got, well, I could talk all day, but I don't want to take too much time on running backs. I want to talk about quarterbacks too. But J.K. Dobbins out of LaGrange, Texas. My guy, ride till I die, J.K. Dobbins, man. 14 games last season. He only had 47% of the snap share total. So no usage at the beginning. Very limited work, even when his return to Texas at NRG, right? He scored an octopus, and that was it. It's like they took him out of the game after he scored the 8 points, and you're like, what's going on, J.K.? What's going on, Greg Roman? All I do know is Greg Roman runs a ton of plays. He scores the most fantasy points for you. This is a high-powered offense with a running dual-threat quarterback who will, this season, I believe, not take these red zone runs. So I believe J.K., Gus Edwards will feed off of that. J.K. is utilized at the end of the season in the red zone, damn near 67% of the time, 19.4% juke rating in that little area. So he's very elusive, like we know at the Ohio State. And he outproduced his expected fantasy points by 76.3 points last season. Absolutely phenomenal from the rookie. Give him a full summer of OTAs. Oh, also, Brian Bulaga moves over from the guard position to the center position like he did in Green Bay. So that will shore up that offensive line for JK, man. And you know these pulling guards are going to be a little bit quicker. He'll be able to be a little bit more elusive. So I absolutely love JK. So I think he's like the 20th running back off the board essentially in redraft, maybe 25. He's my number 10 guy this season. People call me crazy, but a home or whatnot. I tell you this, man, he knows what he's doing. He's a yes sir, no sir. I met him one time, shook his hand, looked me straight in the eye. Yes sir, no sir. And 1,700 yards, 12.6 touchdowns, 300 points for your fantasy teams. Get him in the back end of third rounds before the fourth round. Don't even give it a chance. And he will be your running back too all day.
I like it. Especially we might touch on this a little bit later, but if you aren't going, running back early and you happen to go receiver, and even if he's your RB1, he's not going to catch a ton of passes. You know what I mean?
But he doesn't need to. It's like Derrick Henry.
Like shit. Yeah, they run like shit over there. So and then even though he's god-awful Mark Ingram, I can't stand that. Even though he's gone, he did garner a little bit of touches when he was healthy. So I like that he's gone. You know what I mean? And we're getting him in the third round on the runningest team in the league. You know what I mean? Love that. How about you, Huss? What you got a running back for me?
I got 2. First one's Antonio Gibson. I keep seeing him going towards the end of the third and, sometimes going outside of the top 12 and
more so super flex, right?
We're just talking ADP. So, I see him going,
currently.
Super flex. Yeah. Super flex. So maybe not the spot in the draft position, but I see him going sometimes outside of the top 12, even if it's 13, 14. So right on that fringe, but yeah, I think he's someone who finishes inside the top 10. He's only going to get better, from last year to this year. And even with McKissick getting all those catches that he did last year, it never ate into his work because there was still at one point, he was still averaging 4 to 5 catches a week, even when McKissick was still getting those 5-6 catches a week. So,
you had check down Charlie, my man, Alex Smith, the Keebler elf himself, you know what I'm saying? But, you do have Magic Man who people don't associate with checking down the running backs because they're like, oh, he's a field stretcher, which is true. But when he was under center, Antonio, what's his name? My man, the bitch Carol Gaskin. Yeah, he was averaging 4 receptions a game. So, that's what I tell people. That's what I tell to you people who say he doesn't check down to the running back. You know what I'm saying? The bitch Carol Gaskin, she'll tell you different.
And it's because it probably wasn't a check down. You go back, there were a lot of design plays, that was just to get Gaskin in work, get the ball quick out of Fitz's hands and get into Gaskin's hands. Second guy for me is going to be good old Monty Burns. We were talking about him earlier.
Yeah,
everybody is downgrading him because, Tariq Cohen's coming back. But the only reason why he even did that good was because there was so many injuries. Like, he still would have done that good, but he wouldn't have finished, as a top 4, top 5 guy.
His rookie year, he had 1,100 all-purpose yards. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just where we were drafting him. He drafting him up in like the fourth round of redrafts, right? Then last year, going into the year, depending on when you drafted, he had the groin. So people were getting him in the 6th, 7th round. And like and he finishes running back 4 overall. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care if there's other people hurt and like, oh yeah, they got Damian Williams now, this and that. Listen, bro, you know what I mean? Like, now you have a more competent quarterback in Dalton and Fields. You know what I mean? That's going to help for Montgomery as well. You know what I mean? I mean, we saw Joe Mixon used to catch a ton of receptions from the Red Rifle. You feel me? So, and it's the same goddamn coordinator he was familiar with, Bill Lazor. You know what I mean? So I like Montgomery's situation. Even when Field gets in there, being the rushing threat himself, open up the lanes for old Monty. You know what I mean? Yeah, I like it. I'm gonna go Cam Akers. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll make it quick. It's Stafford, a respectable passer. You know what I mean? Last year with Goff, I think they were 5th over. They saw the 5th highest stacked boxes. You know what I mean? Because no one respects Goff. You know what I mean? Come on, Jared from Subway, bro. No,
you don't
one
have a reason to.
No, you know what I mean? So now you have Stafford, who is one of the more underrated passers. You have a phenomenal passing core. And then I'm not scared of Henderson either. Barring any issues on health, and we're getting him in the 1-2 turnaround, like on the 2 side of it. You know what I mean? I've been seeing him go that high, but I think he's a top 6 guy, bro. You know what I mean? 6 or better. Barring any injury, raising a seat. Todd Gurley shit, man. We all saw it with Todd Gurley. You know what I mean?
We saw it with Cam Akers last year. Remember those 2 games at the end of the season? He fucking balled out.
I always go to history, though. I always go to history, and I always go to the whoever's pulling the leverage. You know what I mean? And it's Sean McVay. He want to have one guy. You know what I mean? Like, and he got him now. And of course, it'll be like an 80. I'd say like he was hovering around 75% of the snap count, right, out of the backfield. Say he gets up to 80. You know what I mean? I think Gurley at one point, like 2018, it was something like 90 or something like that percent. I don't see that. You know what I mean? But I still see all the importante touches, like red zone and goal line, all that. He's a double-digit touchdown guy in the making. And, I don't know the exact numbers, but I know it's a higher percentage targets to the running back for Stafford versus Goff. You know what I mean? So I like it.
I was just going to ask, do you think he gets mixed into the pass game this year? Because he didn't really get mixed in last year too much. Nah,
not at all, really. But I think it was also like, when he came on, that time of the year he came on. And if you factor in everything with the type of offseason they had, you know what I mean, due to COVID, right, that everybody had. Then you go into the year, no preseason. Then week 1, he actually starts. He gets hurt. He gets a rib injury. And then, he comes back and then, he has to, earn his job back, so to speak. And then he doesn't even get it until there's another injury above him. Like, it was just like, I think like this second year outing, if that's what we saw. And then you look at the 6-game stretch from him as a starter. It was from week 13 to the playoff game. But he missed 1 game in between there, right? But that's 6 games. I'm counting the playoff game. You know what I mean? That motherfucker, bro, balling. He averaged 118 all-purpose yards. I think he had 3 touchdowns in that stretch. Like, I'm just saying, like, if you pace that out, I mean, I'm not really a big fan of pacing stuff out like that, but I will do it because my version's better, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, he's pacing out for like 1,900 yards in a 17-week season. Not gonna happen, but I'm just saying, like, that would make him top 3, top 2. You know what I mean? Like, it's in the realm of possibility for Cam Akers, and you're getting him in the 2nd round. Like, I actually think, for someone like a Stafford, remember Rodgers when he first got Matt LaFleur? Everyone was down on Rodgers coming into 2020 because they're like, he didn't really do shit. He didn't really throw the ball. They're just running all the time. I think like he's going to enjoy, like Aaron Rodgers did, just the fact that they have a solid run game and he has a solid defense and just a complete team around him. Like, they're probably going to be one of the more efficient offenses. Matter of fact, we'll segue to when we segue to QB after this. I'm not so high on Stafford than some others. I think like his touchdown count won't be that high. Was Jared Goff's touchdown count really ever that high? Nah. because they run that thing when they're down there as much as possible. You know what I mean? And if he can enjoy that luxury, I think he would, and Cam Akers will be the benefactor. Let's go. Give me money.
Yeah. You got any other running backs, or you want to just transition right into quarterback?
Now, we can transition because I was going to go Homer and just say Sermon, but it's like that's just someone like you probably grab. You'll just wait. If you don't draft Sermon, you wait till the person drops him, or you trade with that person, and Sermon would be a throw-in because you're going to have to wait on Sermon. Or Javonte, or I could say all the rookies and just what I mean. But that's
Let me tell you how overhyped Sermon is right now, at least in some leagues.
I don't like your version already.
In a rookie only draft, he got taken at the 110. I had the 111, and I picked Travis Etienne.
Wow, that's stupid.
So that's at least one example that I can give you that is very recent.
It's funny. I had to think real quick. I was like, hold on, was that me? I was like, was that me that did that? Was I in that draft? Because I have took him at 110 overall in a league full of Niners, though. Shout out to the Heart Star guys. Shout out to the fellas. I was sitting at 110. I was like, fuck that. I'm doing it. I'm getting Sermon. And there was a collective, like, you know what I mean? Hella Niners in that league.
That's the dopest feeling when you're in a live draft and everyone goes, because you know that was a good pick. You just feel money walking up to the board to throw that sticker on there.
Yes, diabolical laugh time. Okay, so let's get into QBs. Like, you know what I'm saying? What you got, Pinto?
Kind of like I went with my 1.01 running back. I'm gonna go with my 1.01 quarterback. What's going on, Matt? Kyler Murray, man, the 6th quarterback off the board essentially in most drafts.
That's my number one.
53.3 from Underdog as his ADP. That's absolutely ridiculous. This is the quarterback one. Killer Kyler, man, with Cliff.
Hey, real quick, shout out to Underdog. Give us money. Okay, go ahead.
Right? Come on, Underdog. Let's go. We're here for it.
Make the phone call, Pinto.
Man, Cliff Kingsbury, the Texas connection between these guys, the Aggie connection between these guys. I mean, you got to remember Kingsbury was a Texas Tech quarterback who also coached at A&M when Manziel was the quarterback, so he knows how these dual threat quarterbacks operate. Kyler Murray is no slouch here. He scored a 20 on the Wonderlic test. He's very smart. Last season was his worst season by essentially his offensive lineman by protecting him. He was only protected about 47% of the time, but on those essentially shaky passes, he still completed it over 80% of the time. He runs a lot too, so his floor is very, very safe for you. You know what he's going to do. He's 54.4 rush yards per game at 8.4% touchdown rating on the ground. So his floor is so safe for rushing that the throwing is going to be there. Well, you get Nuke, right? Another year under Kingsbury. Now you get AJ Green, that veteran mindset, obviously, in that locker room. Christian Kirk, you got to do something, man. You and Kyler were roommates at A&M. Come on, you got to have that special connection. Ascend this season.
Apparently.
It's going to be Rondale Moore who's making the difference this year, man.
Now Rondale Moore, right?
He's going to run
Rondale Moore, obviously. He will be on the field a lot. So you got
never see it coming.
You can't. He's like what? I think Player Profiler had him as like Ant-Man. So come on, Underdog Player Profiler, give us money.
Yeah.
You see his what's it called? The high jump when he went like 42 or 43 inches or something. That dude's got some hops.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be phenomenal what these guys are going to do. And then you add James Conner and Chase Edmonds. We'll talk about those guys later as well, I suppose. But Kyler Murray, my QB1, 5,300 total yards, 50 touchdowns, 412.5 expected fantasy points from me to you. So Kyler Murray, let's go, baby. A huge homer call on this, but QB1 for me.
I got a question for you. I'm going to play devil's advocate just a little bit.
Sure.
Because you even brought it up. The offensive line played, a little bit worse for him. Do you think that makes him able to, get some seconds in the pocket to where he doesn't have to force that run, because he's got hands in his face under 3 seconds?
Sure. I mean, that's always a possibility. And I think that this season, I'm hoping that the offensive line gets a little bit better and give him a little bit more time because he does have a quick release, obviously. One of the fastest in the league. Josh Allen, a little bit quicker on the baseball.
That's that baseball.
Yeah, that baseball throw. But also the height disadvantage between him and Josh Allen as well. So guys in his face are a little bit more inclined to block his window, right? So Hustler, I absolutely agree that offensive line has to stick it. If they don't, everything could go in shambles, right? Even his rushing could go down. So you gotta hope that offense. You gotta win in
the
the
rushing
punches.
goes down. I think it correlates with the passing going up. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
I agree with that take. I actually traded for Kyler and traded Dak straight up. This was before Dak got the contract negotiation, and it was to my man Stu down here, who is a Cowboys fan.
Shout out to Stu.
And we couldn't work out a trade. And I was like, the only way this is going to happen, we can just trade Kyler for Dak straight up, and we can just both cheer for a guy that we'd rather cheer for. And I'd rather cheer for Kyler than for Dak. So I'm all on that. I'm on that hype train.
It's fantasy football, so you got to go with the guys that make you happy, right? Because it's a game at the end of the day. Obviously, strategy and wanting to win is a lot too, but it's fun. You got to, like you said, man, get the guys that you like on your team. A guy that I really want on a bunch of my teams is my quarterback too, especially in super flex leagues, like you were mentioning, Hustler, is Tua Tagovailoa. Absolute disrespect for this guy. They're building the team around him, right?
I am guilty of that. I call him the tuna fish. That's what I call him.
That's fine. It's pushing. He's 140 from underdog his ADP, so he's not even being drafted, right? He's on the waiver wire. But you got to look at what they did for him in Miami, right? They added his college buddy, right, Jalen Waddle, and he's obviously their number one guy. They had the 1-6 pick, I believe, and so. The big issue with Tua is people were saying that he can't throw the deep ball, right? He can't throw the deep ball in the NFL, blah, 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 blah. We'll go back and look at college film, man. Rock, paper, scissors, Jalen Waddle. These guys are balling down the field 50, 60 yards, and he's throwing this thing. So I don't believe that at all. I think he's a lot better than he played last season. His ADOT was at 7.5, and he completed 30% of his deep ball passes. He's very, very smart too. Obviously, his Wonderlic wasn't very good, but he learned from the best guy in the league for the Wonderlic is, Ryan Fitzpatrick. So
the Harvard grad,
the
he invented the Wonderlic.
He
perfect
sure did.
score on the Wonderlic. Is he like the only person that's ever got a perfect score?
Actually, Justin Fields is.
Oh Lord, here we go.
And like
the
Patrick
Justin
Mahomes,
Fields hype. Here we go.
Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. They're actually, I think they're close second and third. But actually not a close. They're close as in they're close together. But he scored a perfect 130. Everyone else is like 109, 108, and you know what I mean. I guess the highest is 130, and that was Justin Fields. I told you. See, the Magic Man, he didn't have to do it. He invented it. And yes, listen, my version is better.
That's for sure.
He invented it.
It's one thing that I will say. I mean, you just brought it up how the Dolphins, they go out and get Waddle, to pair him up with Tua. Bengals go out and get Chase to pair him up with Burrow. I mean, it's at least showing the evolution of these coaches. Just knowing that connection.
Hurts with Swift or with
what's the other? Devontae Smith.
Yeah, I said
yeah.
And they also had Rager already on the team. So, and they brought Thad Moss into Cincinnati as well. Zach Taylor, the OC, or the play caller, head coach, LSU alum as well. So the colors run deep in the college world, right?
Yeah, I think was responsible for all this? It was the 49ers, the old CJ Beathard and George Kittle connection. When George Kittle connected like CJ Beathard turned like an all-pro, everyone's like, damn, this college connection could really make a difference.
Real talk. They make them different in Iowa. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is it Big Bob Tunyon? Like did he go to Iowa too? I don't think he went to Iowa, but he definitely rocks with George Kittle in real life. Like I think like his dad trains him or something like that.
So they actually spent, I think they train together in the summers. They have like a house together. They rock the same haircut and all that kind of stuff. So when Bob Tonyan had that like 3 touchdown game in Lambeau, George Kittle tweeted out, was like, there you go, baby bro, rock 85, because they wear the same number as well.
Yeah.
So.
He went to Indiana State.
Okay, there
Close
it is.
enough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, tomato. They got books and they got a football field. You know what I mean? I was close.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, well, you know what? This Huss, go ahead and rapid fire this one because I got about 30 minutes here. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So we'll start rapid fire. And it's all my fault too, because I have fun.
I got two that'll knock off here. So Herbert, who's going as like the 7th or 8th quarterback, I think he's going to outproduce that, even if it is just by 1 or 2 spots. I think he's going to be airing it out even more than before. A lot of it's going to be riding on Keenan Allen staying healthy. So if Keenan Allen's got to put in that full 17, he hasn't been known to do that too often. Even last year, he missed, and he should have sat out, that one game that he tried to play through it. But a lot is going to be riding on Allen. Second guy for me, my favorite QB2, Baker Mayfield. This is his first year that he actually has his coaching regime and offensive coordinator carrying over from year 1 to year 2 of their regime. And so we saw the potential in his first year. It was only for half a season at the end when they switched coaches. And then we saw it last year, in spurts towards the end. I think this is the year he's going to be comfortable from game 1 and just comes in and lights it up and closer to a QB1 than he does to, QB24.
I mean, I like it because, Kirk Cousins in those years with Stefanski, he was a 4,000-yard passer. He hovered around 26, 27 touchdowns. If that's a floor for Baker, I like it because, they're a team that wants to rack up the points, then play defense with a lead, and then run the ball like shit. You know what I mean? Like that, that play action is going to be nasty, bro. He could be like easily a 30-touchdown passer. You know what I mean? Like at a floor. You know what I mean? I mean, look at Kirk Cousins last year in with the absence of Stefanski, one of the was it Kubiak? Kubiak took over.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I'm saying? And, Kirk Cousins went crazy. There you go again, too, with the Shanahans, going back to all the way to the daddy Shanahan. That thumbprint is all over this league now. You know what I mean? The zone run, all that shit. It's going to the wide zone schemes. Like, let's go. Okay, so let's get on the receivers. You know what I mean? And I want to pop this one off. I'm going to say Deontay Johnson. Because, people, he's so polarizing with his drops for some reason to people. You know what I mean? They got the nickname Deontay Dropson. I think he's easily, a high-end WR2. Easily. You know what I mean? He's going to have a bunch of WR1 finishes here and there. But overall, he's a high-end RB2. He's being drafted in the WR3 range. You know what I'm saying? Was he being drafted within the top, outside of the top 40? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy to me. What you got, Pinto?
So wide receivers are not my forte, really. I'll leave that to my guys on the show. I'm such a running back guy. So the only wide receiver I want to talk about is the guy that I always talk about is Bobby Light gonna do you right, aka Robert Woods, Bobby Trees, man.
Yeah.
44.7 at the ADP. He is always gonna be one of my wide receiver ones on my team. And now he gets the upgrade with Matt Stafford throwing the long ball. Robert Woods, Sean McVay, man, I got a man crush on this dude so much. His mind is absolutely intelligent, and he uses Robert Woods all over the field, like you mentioned. When they get into the red zone, they might run it. Well, Robert Woods runs the end around better than anyone else on that team and has scored multiple times on the end around in the red zone. He lines up in the slot. He lines up wide. He lines up all over the place. Matt Stafford is going to love this guy, and Robert Woods, man, wide receiver 1 for me. I mean, I think he finished wide receiver 14, maybe 10 last season. I've got him as my wide receiver 11 this season. So let's go, Bobby Trees.
I got him at 15. And I feel too low on him. I like his version.
I was talking about one guy. I'll talk about Michael Thomas because he's getting downgraded like crazy. We know his talent. He was literally hurt from week 1 last year. And we saw the little spurts of it with Taysom Hill when he had 10 targets in the game. And I mean, it was only one good game, because he got hurt right after that. But yeah, he's getting downgraded like crazy. I'll take that all day. I think I got him in the 5th round of a dynasty and maybe the 6th round also. So yeah, he's just, he's dropping like crazy. And let's just transition into tight ends. Who's the tight end that you got?
So I'll go not so flashy, but I'm going to go with the Bears tight end ADP at 172, Cole Kmet. He is my tight end 5 this season. I mean, he's out there so much. They use him a lot. He's upgrading his snaps, and this is his 3rd year. So his 3rd year. Should be having a killer year under either Andy Dalton or Justin Fields. Doesn't really matter because this guy, I want him on all my rosters.
It's his sophomore year. It's his sophomore year.
Yo, sophomore year. There you go.
But I like it though, because once you, I mean, if you remember 2015, that was, you know, the where Andy Dalton kind of sniffed like MVP, like, you know, conversation. Remember that? He had like 12 phenomenal games and he fractured his thumb and he was just done. But that was under Bill Lazor, and you know, what's his name? Tyler Eifert, bro. He was eating. That was like the one year everyone like just chased. You know what I mean? Like that's the one good year he had. You know what I mean? So I'm excited for commit. You know what I mean?
And then if Justin Fields comes out on the field, I mean, the targets are going to go to him.
Yeah, because naturally, you'll rely on your safety valves, which would be this, you know, close vicinity players like a tight end. So, you know what I mean? I like it.
How about my tight end?
How about Troutman? I like Troutman.
Adam Troutman.
He's going in that range. I feel like Troutman, though, that he's going to start going up higher just because people are like, the hype is crazy on him. But I
can't trust Taysom.
Yeah, but I don't think it's Taysom. Listen, I think it's Winston and in the Breeze role, just, you know, the guy who plays majority of the snaps under center, and you just see Taysom just annoying as fuck. You know what I mean?
And I do think that I think it's Winston also, but I mean, fuck, like with the Bucks, he wasn't really thrown to the tight end that much. I mean, he was like, he was wide receiver or bust.
Well, here, I'll argue this. He was when the system called for it. When he had Dirk Cutter there, Dirk Cutter, this goes all the way back to Tony Gonzalez. Granted, it's Tony Gonzalez, right? When he was with the Falcons and Dirk Cutter. Then Dirk Cutter gets his shot, and he went through he tried to get the Austin Safarian-Jenkins. He tried to get the motherfucking, help me out here, O.J. Howard, the Cameron Braids, like, and all those guys flashed, you know, in their own right at one time or another, but it was a system. Then Dirk Cutter goes back to Atlanta, and I'm like, everybody get on Austin Powers Hooper. And that worked for that year. Then I tried to double back with Hayden Hurst Helmsley last year, and that didn't work so much. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Dirk Cutter. So I think it was a system thing. And then my thing with Troutman is just, who is it? It's Michael Thomas, like you said, and then Alvin Kamara as well, you know, in the passing game. Like, who is going to step up? I think it could be a Troutman. You know what I mean? Unless it's Traquan Smith, you know what I mean? Like someone's going to step up. Someone's going to eat because there's going to be volume there. I think there's going to be, you know, shout out to Spencer the Guru. He was actually on the same hype last week. He was talking about there's going to be like a 4,500 yard passer there. I'm going crazy. I said there's going to be a 5,000 wow passer if it's Winston. You know what I mean? And, you know, because I think that defense is in shambles. The secondary is going to give up a ton of points. You're going to be in hella shootouts. And I think Troutman might eat. Plus, we're getting him for free. That's the thing. I'm going to have a ton of Troutman and like Chris Herndon. It's not even going to be funny.
Yeah, Chris Herndon's going to be a good one too.
Yeah.
My favorite thing to do in a super flex league is, as my third QB, take the Winston Hill stack just super, super late and get both of them. And then either way, you got the starter, you know? So
I like that.
Get something real late. For my tight end, Logan Thomas. So he's someone who literally
Old man Wolverine.
Yeah, my week 2 waiver wire last year, he was someone who I was talking about right away just because amongst this tight end wasteland, you know, the type of targets that he was getting was the ones that you want. It wasn't a lot, but he was getting them in the red zone, and it was all just wide open targets. And Fitzmagic, man, he's going to be slinging that thing. And I just think Logan Thomas is going to outproduce what he did last year.
Yeah, I like it. Shout out to old man Logan. You know what I mean? And I like that he's a former QB because he just knows where your QB will want you to be. Right. And then you got the Magic Man, Harvard grad. He's already had it all. It's all planned out already. I'm telling you. It's his thesis right now. I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying? All right, so check this out. Let's go rapid fire this one real quick. You know what I mean? Just we'll stick to running backs on this one because I know this is Pinto's forte. So what running backs in ADP you think is going to fail that ADP? That you know, he's being overdrafted. Like and then because this actually kind of couples with the fact this is going to be a guy you probably curving. So at the running back position, who's dropping?
So for me, and I just don't know what it is about the guy. I love the team. I love the story. I love narratives, obviously. But Josh Jacobs, you know, I love the narratives, man. But
left in his car, man. You know what I mean? He had to get it out the mud.
I'm just saying. So Austin
that's just
Eckler
one of those
for me,
polarizing things, though. That's one of those.
There's not very many. But for me, it's Austin Eckler. Around 14 from ADP. I just don't see it. I get it. Like I just get it. But for me, it's just not there. And for rapid fire, I could dive into this, but it's just the usage for me is not there. I mean, he averages 7.8 total rushes a game. Like that's not a lot. I get most of his volume comes from the passing, but like that can all change so quickly. He's only had 45% of the snap share too. So like Austin Eckler, I fade this guy so much. I don't have very many shares of him at all. Very rarely in best ball is only when I get them. So for me,
I'm gonna piss a lot of people off with mine, but DeAndre Swift, like I'm not buying that hype train. Just not gonna get behind it. There hasn't been a good Lions running back since Barry Sanders. I don't think Swift is gonna be that guy, especially with Goff. We're gonna be seeing nothing but stacked boxes.
Right? Okay, how about this? I'm gonna go Jonathan Taylor because he's gonna buy, but when it's all said and done, he's going too high. Phillip Rivers, last year 25% of his pass attempts went to the running back position. You know what I mean? Carson Wentz is nowhere near that in his time with Frank Reich, and we still have Nyheim Hines. I could make things to make my narrative, but then at the same time say he's still a back end RB1. Or a high-end RB2 if he doesn't have the touchdowns at minimum, right? Because touchdowns will get you up there. You know what I'm saying? But, like, yes, the passing game work, I think we're going to need him to be efficient because it's not going to – and, like, the screen game was crazy with Phillip Rivers. And this goes all the way back to his time with the Chargers, you know what I mean? So I'm just wondering, if that passing work is going to be there for him as much as it was. I mean, because he was extremely efficient with it. Like 34 receptions for like 36 targets or some bullshit like that, 38 targets. It was something like that. I'm in the ballpark. He didn't get too many targets. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that pissing a lot of people off for sure.
And so, I mean, I know that you got to go like host that other show, so we can just wrap this thing up. We went through a bunch.
This rapid fire one, this last one's rapid fire because I do want to get Pinto's thoughts here because he's the running back guy. So I thought this would be interesting because now everybody's on the hype, right? The last few years, there was a ton of zero RB guys, and I just stayed RBs. I was like, fuck all that. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, I'm going three, but sometimes I go 3 rounds in a row on them hoes. You know what I mean? We stacking up.
So absolutely. I mean, I love the question and I love the thought process behind it because that's all this really is. Last season, he was one of the first guys. I mean, at least in a bunch of leagues that I did. I played in over 60 leagues last year. I mean, close to 100 this season. Like, it's just absolutely crazy what people are drafting out there. And, like, last season I went 5 out of 6, 5 running backs out of the first 6 rounds. And people were like, what's going on? Like, my bench running back was better than running back 1. So the landscape for running back is so bare and so thin that you got to get these bell cow backs. If you don't have one on your team, I mean, it's a crapshoot to find the next, James Robinson, which is very rare. And so,
or you gotta hope for an injury.
You're right,
exactly. And you're holding on to that Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah, and so for me in a draft,
shout out to all your Alexander Madison truthers out there that just held on to him and he did nothing.
There's always going to be someone who comes up. I remember that Nick Chubb year, and everybody drafted him, at least in every league that I was in, and then he was dropped in 100% of the leagues that I was in also before that trade happened. And then I swooped him up and was laughing all the way to the bank that year.
Yeah,
absolutely. So the zero running back format for me, I mean, people are always going to go wide receivers and go that theory, but it's not for me. The wide receivers are so deep. I mean, you're always going to find a rookie wide receiver who is going to be the number 1 rookie out there. So it's just finding that and listening to the Rumboyz network to tell you who that guy is. Jamar Chase. That's besides the point. I mean, it's just, it's silly not to have a top 5 running back. So for me, if you're in the first half of the draft, you got to go CMC, Saquon, Dalvin, Zeke, or I mean, like, Dalvin, those guys at the back end. I'm going to go Zeke. I'm going to go Jonathan Taylor. I'm going to go these guys just so I solidify one of these running backs. And the second round, I'm going to take my J.K. Dobbins or someone like that.
Love it.
Yep. Got to get something because you just said everyone should get a top 5 QB. But out of these 12 teams, 7 of you guys are asked out on getting those top 5. So, yeah, you guys better strike early.
Right? and I mean, like, I will say 0 RB. It's fun, but, bro, it is not comfortable ever. You know what I mean? Like my man's Steamboat Joe, he always is contrarian, bro. And we had a 3 mandatory receiver league, right? So you had to start 3 receivers. You had 2 and double flex, right? So all the while I'm going to start 4 running backs. Watch this. You know what I mean? And then he's just stacking up on hella receivers. And then he was hella happy to get, a 5th round James Conner and a 6th round Mark Ingram. And he's just like, I'm about to kill all y'all. And it sounded good, right? Before the year started, because he's looking at, Tyreek Hill and who else would he had Tyreek Hill, Chris Godwin, Juju, Thielen. Like he had, you know what I mean? Like he had it sounded good. You know what I'm saying?
So let me guess, he didn't win the ship that year.
Nah. Matter of fact, I had Julio banged up. I even went to him. I was like, listen, let me get James Conner. I'll give you Julio. I was like, what are you doing? I'm like, listen, he can't help it. I was like, he can't help it. He want all the receivers. I was like, here's busted ass Julio. And then and for the record, I was getting busted ass Conner. It wasn't like Conner did so much for me neither. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But yeah, okay. I mean, there was more I wanted to cover. But you know what that means? That means we might have to double back on this. Pinto, we might have to get you right on back.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Love being back on here, guys. It's fun.
Oh yeah, and everybody be sure to check out our man Chris Pinto and the guys, the fantasy first rounders. You know what I'm saying? They go on live every Wednesday. I was gonna start shouting out the times, but like I'd be confusing myself because we're all in different time zones. So what is it? It's 7:00 Central time, right?
7:30 Central.
7:30 Central. Yeah, there it is. 7:30 Central. You know what I'm saying? That's 5:30 for all us up high heads on the West Coast. You know what I mean? And all you East Coasters, it's late night, but it's that good late show that you stay up for. You know what I mean? It's that late show. You know what I mean? And go ahead and let them know where they can find you, Pinto. And we're going to close this thing out.
Yeah, so right down at the bottom, you can find me at Aggie Capasig on Twitter, part of the Rumboyz Network, and the host of the Fantasy First Rounders. Dropping a lot of new content tomorrow for Behind Me Pinto's PowerPoints, exclusive video content on the SportsMe app. Go get you the SportsMe app, guys.
Thank
you so much for having me. It's so fun. So can't wait to come back.
Yeah, Pinto. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you, man. Huss, let them know. And let them know about the Patreon, too. And we'll close this thing all the way out.
Yeah, you already know you can find me on YouTube, Fantasy Football Hustler. Every podcast out there, Fantasy Football Hustler. Yeah, and you guys want to be a part of the Hustler Draft Guide. It just dropped. We got over 700 players broken down on offense and on defense. So go get signed up on Patreon, patreon.com/FFHustler420. Got to get on the superstar tier or higher. It'll be the best decision you ever made. We got Bogart's ranks on there. Well, at least they will be here any second. And we got a lot of things going.
They are en route.
En route as we speak.
En route. Yes.
This is going to help you dominate every level of your draft because we got so many players broken down, you won't even need to get to the bottom of them.
Hey. Well, this was My Version's Better. Once again, Rumboyz and girls, be sure to subscribe, hit that notification. See us here every Tuesday. Catch Rumboyz After Dark on Fridays. Once again, tomorrow night, Fantasy First Rounders. Y'all know where you can find me. The earth is my turf. Hey, close this thing out, my guy.
Peace out.
Peace.